Welcome to the 20-minute cooking school. I am Claire Tansey. This is Claire Tansey's kitchen. It is a beautiful, rainy, freezing cold spring day here in Toronto. What better day to make muffins? Let's get our little hairs up here. A full wool sweater, like cold day. I'm also gonna take my rings off. My hands are so cold that my rings keep falling off. That's when you know it's cold. So guys, thank you so much for all of your replies. We are gonna make blueberry muffins today. We are going to make blueberry muffins. So I asked everybody what you think the best muffin is, because I sort of feel like blueberry is the best muffin. I'm bad with favorites, but I kind of feel like blueberry is the best muffin. Maybe, I don't know, banana is a good muffin. Banana chocolate chip is like getting towards cupcake territory. Raisin bran, also love. But how about bran blueberry? So we're making muffins. So we are making blueberry muffins, and these are hands down the best, most wonderful blueberry muffins. Look at. I have a batch that I made yesterday, and there are only 3 left of a dozen. They are so good. They've got this crackly, crunchy top, and they're packed with fruit, and they're half whole wheat, and they're super tender, and they're really easy to make, and you're gonna love them. And they're the best blueberry muffins ever. So here we go. The recipe, if you're watching live, the recipe is already up on the site, so you're more than welcome to just let your fingers do the walking over to clairetansey.com, and you will see it right there on the homepage. But come back, because there's going to be tons and tons of helpful tips that you're not going to get from the recipe that you will get from here in Claire Tansey's kitchen. So for me, a good muffin is half white and half whole wheat. I like whole wheat, not so much that I don't want the whole wheat to be like 100% whole wheat, because then I find it can get a bit stodgy. Like a perfect muffin for me, it's a tough thing, right? Like it's got to be delicious, first of all, but it also has to be a little bit healthy and not too sweet, and lots of fruit and easy to make, and the crunchy top is very helpful. So anyway, all that's to say, I definitely always do half whole wheat. So for me, that means 150 grams of white flour and 135 grams of whole wheat flour. And yes, all the cup measurements are right there in the recipe. But you know how I feel about my digital scale. I love, that's too much. That is still too much. There we go, now we are fine. I love baking with the digital scale. Really easy, really easy. So there's your white and your whole wheat. Granulated sugar. So here's the thing with muffins and any kind of quick bread. You keep your wet ingredients and your dry ingredients separate. Now, that may seem like an obvious differentiation. You got your wet ingredients, water. You get your dry ingredients, flour. But what about sugar? Is sugar a wet ingredient or a dry ingredient? Well, if you can believe this, that's a bit too much. Sugar is actually considered a wet ingredient. Why? That doesn't look wet, doesn't look very wet in there. 3/4 of a cup, by the way. You can reduce that down to 2/3 if you like them even less sweet. Sugar is a wet ingredient because that is the way it behaves when it's hot. Sugar gets hot when sugar gets wet when it is hot. So usually if you're making, say, quick breads or muffins or pancakes, you put the sugar in with the wet ingredients, like the eggs and the milk and the yogurt. But I don't know, I started just adding it right to the flour, and it turns out great. So as much as I say keep the wet and dry ingredients separate, I also still think that you can add the granulated sugar right in here. Did I already add the salt? Oh my God, did I already add the salt? I feel like I did. Yes? Did I add the salt? Did anybody see me add salt? Yes, the salt is right here. I already added the salt. Cinnamon. So this is blueberry lemon by popular request. And I really, when it comes to blueberry and lemon, I like a nice heaping quarter teaspoon of cinnamon, because I think that cinnamon and lemon and blueberries, they kind of like all help each other to feel good, to look good and to feel good. Okay, so that is the dry ingredients: 2 types of flour, a little granulated sugar, baking powder, salt, and cinnamon. And that's everything. Okay, so now this is important: whisk management. Yes, you added the salt. Thank you so much. So whisk management here. I'm going to whisk the dry ingredients first. This will all make sense once I get to the wet ingredients. But you whisk your dry ingredients first. So they're nice and mixed. Okay, you go over there. Then we go over to wet ingredients. I'm a little out of it. I kind of took a Tylenol 3, so because my back is in a lot of pain today, so I'm a little bit wooey, just a little. So if I say things that don't sound quite right, I always say check the recipe. 2 eggs in. A lot of my other muffin recipes have called for 1 egg, but I like the second egg here. It just adds a nice little bit of tenderness and kind of richness to the dough. 1 egg. Now we need yogurt. Yogurt. Ha! Ooh, I gave away my big secret. So, yogurt versus buttermilk in muffins. Now, as you know, if you watched any of my shows before, I'm a big fan of buttermilk. I think it really makes a huge difference to pancakes and waffles. But when it comes to muffins, I prefer yogurt. Buttermilk would be fine. Yogurt, the only thing is with buttermilk is that I have to make a special trip because I don't often have buttermilk in the fridge. But I always have plain yogurt because we live on plain yogurt here. It's like a very common snack. Oh boy. See, very common snack. Thomas has it for breakfast. And in fact, I'm so well known for loving plain yogurt that I was actually just assigned a story on it for Parents Canada magazine, which was basically like, hey, how do you fall in love with plain yogurt? Because a lot of people don't like it. And you know what? Plain yogurt is such a delight. And it's so nice to just be able to buy plain yogurt because it doesn't have all the crap in it. It doesn't have sweetened sugars or coconut or coffee or flavorings or sugar or more sugar or sugar. There's just so much sugar added to, I mean, I know I'm cooking with sugar right now myself, but there's just so much sugar added to yogurt. Way more than needs to be added. So we always buy plain yogurt. And then when I'm feeding it to Thomas, I will often like put a little drizzle of maple syrup or molasses on top. You know, just add some fruit. I obviously love it straight out of the tub. I love plain yogurt. But here's the number one key when it comes to buying plain yogurt. Hands down, absolutely necessary. You have to buy full fat. You cannot get away with loving yogurt, or you will not love yogurt if you buy fat-free. Shouldn't even exist. 1% or 2%. It's just not going to be good. Fat transmits flavor to your palate. Fat also gives yogurt a delicious mouthfeel. So I get this stuff, which is 6%. It is fabulous. Don't go lower than 3%, and the higher the better. Also good in baking because, you know, fat is really good in baking, again, with the transmitting of the flavor and the yada, yada, yada. Now, I need some kind of something to get this out of here. Spatula. So, 2 eggs, a cup of plain, full-fat yogurt, and then I'm going to add some canola, half a cup. Really not that much for 12 muffins. Yeah. You could do this with a third of a cup, but you're not going to get the same kind of crackly top, which I love. Okay, so what was that? That was the yogurt. Then we need the vanilla. Okay, now listen, gang, in the recipe, I have made the vanilla optional because this was $10, okay? You always got to buy the real vanilla because the fake stuff tastes fake. So I'm making the vanilla optional. If you want, just add a little extra lemon zest because that's coming next. And as I said, vanilla is cray expensive right now. Hi everybody, if you're just tuning in, so nice to have y'all here. It's Claire Tansy's Kitchen. Hey, it's my 2nd anniversary of starting my business today, April 11th. 2 years ago, we launched Claire Tansy's Kitchen. Me and this lemon, launched Claire Tansy's Kitchen, and we are, I can't believe it. I can't believe it's been 2 years. 2 years of cooking and writing and hustling and all that stuff. So we are also about 175 days away from the launch of my first cookbook, Uncomplicated, on October 2nd. Hey, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, I hope you will, because in the next newsletter, we're going to do an advance reveal of the cover of my book. So very, very pleased about that. And you get to see it if you've signed up for the newsletter. And if you have not signed up for the newsletter, go to clairetansy.com. You'll see a little banner right across the top, and you can sign up for that. Hey, here's a hot tip. Here's 2 hot tips that I just totally glossed over. Hardest working gadget in my kitchen, Microplane Zester. If you don't have one, get one. If you have one, give one to a friend who does not. Use it for everything, including lemon zest. And once you've zested a lemon, just pop it back in the produce bag. See, I've already got one that's already been zested. That'd be from yesterday's muffins. Pop back in the produce bag, and it'll last and last and last and last. Thank you so much, Jen. It's so nice to see that. Anyways, yeah, so if you don't wrap your zested lemons in a plastic bag or something plasticky, they will dry out and they will absolutely get as hard as a baseball. Okay, so, and a little bit of milk. Little bit of milk. I don't have milk out, do I? 1/4 cup of milk. So far, if you're just tuning in, we're making blueberry lemon muffins, and they are the best muffins you've ever had in your whole entire life. They're not the kind of cakey muffins that you get from Treats or from Mama Muffins. They are the best kind of homemade muffin that you ever had homemade. Okay, Chris, your absolute fave. Yes, okay, I don't know. Okay, that's all coming through. Anyway, hi, Chris, nice to see your comments. So this is the wet ingredients, the eggs, the oil, the yogurt, the vanilla, optional vanilla. This is the dry ingredients, the flour, the cinnamon, the baking powder. Remember we talked about whisk management, so it was dry there. Now it's going to get wet. So the wet ingredients, why is it so important? Dear Claire, dear chef, why is it so important to keep the wet and the dry ingredients separate until the last minute? Well, let me tell you. It's because the reason that these muffins are going to rise and get fluffy and tender and fabulous is because the baking powder, which is in there, is going to react with the yogurt, which is in here, and it's going to go and make these beautiful bubbles. Now, part of that action is going to happen when it gets heated in the oven, over there, but part of it is going to happen right away, as soon as the two meet. It's like the baking powder and the yogurt are going to like have this embrace, and already the things are going to get hot and bubbly. So you want to prevent that from happening too soon, because then it'll lose all of its oomph and we won't have anything left for when things really heat up in the oven. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm keeping these separate. So I'm keeping these separate until the very last minute. Now, meanwhile, I need to grease my tin. This is your standard muffin tin. It is 415. We are very close to being done. This is another one of my favorite baking products. This is Pam with flour. Does that make sense? It's especially for baking. So usual Pam or whatever cooking spray is just oil. But this has a little tiny bit of flour in it, and it is absolutely brilliant for baked goods. Like, these things will just pop out of here. So good. So it comes out as a foam. Let me just show you. It almost looks like caulking or something. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't DIY, but you see it's got a little bit foamy. A little foamy. Okay, so that's ready. Still haven't combined the wet and the dry. Got to get the bloobs. Bloobs! Here's the other thing you got to leave to the last minute. You've got to leave your berries in the freezer until the last minute. Of course, you can use fresh. Fresh are nice. They're fresh are nicer because the muffins themselves don't get quite as purple, I guess, for lack of a better word. Yes, Andrea, thank you with the pan with the flour. So the thing with the fresh blueberries versus the frozen I find is just so much better of an investment. Like this is $6.99 for all of these wild Canadian blueberries. Whereas if you get the high bush blueberries, the cultivated ones, it's like $3.99 for, and you need probably 3 or 4 of those. You know, I'm so frugal. Okay, so a cup and a quarter, roughly. And like I said, oh God, too much, there we go. Like I said, you leave them in the freezer until the very last minute to prevent them from thawing as much as possible. It's still gonna, things are still gonna get purple, but I'm gonna give you a suggestion for mitigating that. All right, everything is good to go. I've got my scooper at the ready. Everything is ready to go before I do my combining here. Did I put the milk in? I don't think I did. Did I put the milk in? I did. Guys, I should not have taken that Tylenol 3. I mean, I should have because like I have a crazy back pain, but it's making me a little bit hooey and I can't really read what you're saying. Thanks for letting us know about Pamela's flower. It's such a good one. Thank you, God. Thank goodness for you, Deborah and Nancy. Thank heavens. Like I said, if you're watching right now, this recipe is already up on clairetansey.com. I just haven't quite added all of the links, but you can get the recipe right away. So that you can go right away to your oven or pantry, because you probably have a lot of this stuff on hand anyways. And then you can make your own muffins, and they're so good. Okay, so now, here's the technique part. So I gotta get down off of my little drug high. Wet into dry, always. So the dry ingredients always go in the bigger bowl. The wet ingredients go in. As you can see, I'm using a spatula. And then I like to say you stir this briefly but assertively. So you don't want to over stir it, but at the same time you don't want to stir it so like namby-pamby-ish that it doesn't actually get combined. Make sure you're getting down to the bottom of the bowl and around the sides. Now that I've scared you off of over mixing, you'll be like putting just flour in. So like I said, briefly but assertively. So I'm not stirring the crap out of it. And then just before it's fully incorporated, so you see it's still got some lumpy little bits in there, blueberries all at once, and now we're seriously only going to stir a few times. So all over my beautiful wild Nova Scotia blueberries, a taste of one of the best places on earth. There, now you see it's already going to start to turn purple, but voyons, c'est la vie, il n'y a rien à faire, there's nothing you can do. Okay, ice cream scoop, one of these little trigger ice cream scoops, equally wonderful for cookies and for muffins. And now I'm going, you can see why I need to have everything ready. You gotta go right away and start filling them up. And this little scooper just makes life so very easy. Oh my goodness. Now the oven is at 425, which sounds like an extraordinarily high heat for muffins. You're probably more thinking 350. Okay, so here's the science behind why I start at 425 for 5 minutes. This is all in the recipe. I start at 425, and then after about 5 minutes, I go down to 375. Here's the other thing. Muffins like a high temperature. And I like the crunchy top. That's an important feature of a muffin to me. I like the crunchy top and then the kind of soft interior. All right, so these are all looking pretty good. I have some extra batter. When you have extra batter, ooh, this is another good tip. When you have extra batter, like, you know, you're scraping out the kind of dregs of this, do scrape it out. Make sure you use every last drop. There's no need to waste any of it. But instead of adding it equally to all the muffins, I like to add it just to the ones at the edge, because they're the ones that are going to get a little bit more heat. And if you add it to the ones on the inside, unless they're actually really low in level, they just don't get quite as brown. So I like to give a little extra purple boost here. You see what I mean? Like, I barely stirred that and this starts turning purple. Now, speaking of crispy, crunchy crust, here is one, oh my God, it's 421. One last tip. If you have demerara sugar, coarse sugar, just sprinkle about 1/4 teaspoonful on top of every little muffin and before you bake it, and it will add that additional little crunchy piece. Very, very yummy. Guys, we have been making blueberry lemon muffins. These are going to be delightful. They're going to cook for 5 minutes at 425. Then I'm going to crank it down to 375 for about 20 to 25 minutes. I hope that you are all going to make muffins right now. I'm going to fire this in the oven. And let me know if you have any questions at all about muffins in general, substitutions and stuff like that. I talked a little bit about the whole wheat flour. Of course, you can go 100% whole wheat. The muffins will just be a little bit denser. You can go 100% white and they'll be a little bit fluffier. You can switch out any frozen fruit. I like small stuff in general better, or of course dry fruit, equal quantities. Raisins, cranberries, delicious. Key ingredient in this recipe is the full fat plain yogurt. Full fat plain yogurt, which is the bomb. Good to eat, good to bake with, easy to buy. You know, what more can I say? Do you know the Muffin Man? Oh, trust a singer to come up with a song. They are going to be so yummy. As I said, look at them. They're so beautiful. And we are down to our last 3 here. Would you like to see inside? I know we're way over time now. The 20-minute cooking school is over. But look at packed with beautiful fruit. Nice, gorgeous bit of lemon. Really crunchy exterior. So good. Recipes on the website. Thank you all for tuning in. Next week, no idea. Who knows? Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy your blueberry muffins. I'm coming around the counter for the extreme close-up. Nice to see you. Bye.